Okay, welcome everybody to the lesson today. Again, we're doing advanced phrasal verbs and idioms, and this is from a white book called Advanced Phrasal Verbs and Idioms, and you can find it if you look online on Google or Amazon. You'll find it straight away. Please don't forget that I also have a book if you're interested in phrasal verbs. Just looking for it over here on my bookshelf. It's this one. If you want to buy it, you can look for it on Amazon, Visual Phrasal Verbs. If you want a physical copy, it's £20 for black and white or £35 for colour. There's lots of pictures and answers, and it's got all of the phrasal verbs that we're doing today. But if you want to buy it as an ebook, go to my website, skype-lessons.com, and you can buy it for £20 colour, and it has hyperlinks so you can check your answers and that kind of thing. But let's kick off with no point in crying over spilt milk. This is a really common idiom, and you've probably guessed the meaning, maybe. It means don't get upset about something that's already happened, because it's too late. It's already happened, you can't change the past, and so there's no point crying over spilt milk. Sometimes you'll hear an in, sometimes you won't, and I think that's very often the case with there's no point. There's no point in. Sometimes we put an in there, sometimes we don't. But yeah, so don't regret past mistakes. That's the idea, because you can't, it's too late. They're finished. You've got to deal with it and move on. Now, if somebody is full of beans, that means they're full of energy and vitality. They're full of energy. You might use it for somebody who's perhaps a guy's in his 50s, but he's still playing football all the time. He's still doing lots of physical labour, and he's raring to go all the time. He's enthusiastic about it. So he is full of beans, yeah? Full of energy, full of life. It's very positive, this one. Not for want of trying. We often say this when somebody is unsuccessful in some kind of aim or project, but they really tried hard. They really tried hard, but they failed. So you might say something like this. He's been studying Japanese for 3 years, and unfortunately he failed all of his exams, but it wasn't for want of trying. And it means he really tried his best, but unfortunately he failed. But he really did try, and it just unfortunately, in spite of all that effort, he failed. Night after night, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. You can use this with lots of time expressions, and it means when you're trying to emphasize how long something has been going on for, you mean that, you know, one day after the next day after the next day, day after day, this happened or that happened. So you're emphasizing that something continued for a long time when you say night after night, week after week, year after year. There are lots of different time expressions you can use with this after. Now, if you can't make head nor tail of something, or if you couldn't, in past tense, make head nor tail of something, it means you couldn't understand it at all. So you might say, I studied French at school, but I picked up a French newspaper recently, and in spite of the fact that I studied French at school, I couldn't make head nor tail of the newspaper. Yeah, I couldn't make head nor tail of it. I couldn't understand anything. Okay, so this is when you don't understand. If something is holding you back, it is impeding your progress. It's stopping you from progressing in some kind of way, preventing you from progressing in some kind of way. It's the same as keep somebody back. Although this one could, but in fact, both of them could certainly be used in the physical sense. So maybe you want to fight someone and your friends hold you back. So it can mean restrain somebody, stop somebody from going forwards. The same with your friends keeping you back. A teacher could keep a pupil back after school. Maybe the pupil's been naughty. The teacher has told him off, and then he's decided to keep him back after school for 10 minutes as a punishment. But something can hold back your progress as well. So you might say his lack of understanding of tenses is holding him back. He's great at all other aspects of English, but his lack of understanding of the tenses is holding him back. Okay, show signs of improvement. This is very often in teachers' vocabulary, and it just means that somebody is improving, that you can see little signs that they are improving. It's very common. You can show signs of improvement, show signs of recovery as well. Maybe you're a patient in hospital, and if the doctor says you're showing signs of recovery, that's good. It means your health is improving. To do next to nothing means to do very little. Almost nothing, as little as possible. So you might say something like he's failed all of his exams, but it's no surprise because he's done next to nothing. Yeah, as a student, he hasn't worked hard, he's done next to nothing, and so he hasn't tried, and that's why he failed. Okay, if you pull your socks up, then when you say you need to pull your socks up to a student, that means you need to start trying harder and get organised, that kind of thing. To pull your socks up, it always means to try harder in some kind of way and get organised, get working hard on this challenge, whatever it is that you need to do. Okay, to have nothing to show for it. So this just means that you had no result at the end of something, even though you probably did really try hard. So you might say he studied night after night for his Japanese exam, but he had nothing to show for it in the end. He failed the exam, and it wasn't for want of trying, yeah? But he had nothing to show for it at the end, no result, no qualification that says you've passed the exam. You have nothing to show for it in the end. All that effort wasted. Now, if you turn over a new leaf, this means that you start a new life in some kind of way, or a new attitude to life. Perhaps that would be a better explanation. So maybe somebody has got mixed up with a bad crowd and they've started drinking, smoking, stealing, all of those terrible things that youngsters do sometimes, and they go off the rails. There's another good idiom from another lesson where they become wild. However, their parents tell them off, the teachers tell them off, they give them a ticking off, and the child or the teenager decides to turn over a new leaf. It means a new life where they're not going to be naughty anymore, they're not going to be bad. And when you turn over a new leaf, you're always doing something positive. This is always positive. It means you're going to stop doing those bad things and start doing these good things as well. So you might use it about a smoker. You might say he was smoking 60 cigarettes a day, but in the end he turned over a new leaf and quit. If somebody passes with flying colours, they get a great mark in their exam. Fantastic mark, the top mark, something like that. So it really is for the top mark when you pass with flying colours. So this means that you sail through your exams. You could say that as well. And I want you to compare